Yeah, and I know I sound racist when I say things like I'm about to say, but I think a lot of that has to do with the race of the people. Like I think a lot of tribes just act really like when people talk about cutting off the
Female tip.
because that's Muslim. No, it's part of Africa. Like there's a lot of Africans that are
Hacking.
savages, and there's nothing in the Quran that says to cut off a girl's.
Female tip.
I mean that's
Hacking.
insane. That's like a certain part of Africa tribally follows that. And I think I don't like to say race. It's like race doesn't make you moral or immoral. That's one of my ethics. I don't believe that. But I think there are races that for eugenic reasons, like I think a lot, like look at England. Everyone's like
Gay man.
you know? And it's because they hung all the thieves and murderers. They did send a lot to the New World. I think I'm descended from some murderers. No offense, murderers. But they've been like eugenically pruning the bloodlines in a lot of Europe to get a more docile, intelligent, law-abiding group, which has backfired a little bit because they're incapable of standing up for themselves or saying the word
Black man.
which is insane. But then you got, areas of the jungle in the Philippines or the Nicaraguans or
Hacking.
a lot of parts of Africa, and they could be amazing, moral, intelligent people. So I'm not saying that Europeans or white people are more moral, but they're just, in my opinion, they seem to be more prone to acts of savagery. And I'm not saying that I think whites used to be more savage. I think that this is my theory. I can't prove it. But I think if you go back 1,000 years, 1,500 years, and you're looking at the Celts, the Franks, the Visigoths, the Vandals, the Anglos, the Saxons, I think you were dealing with some
Hacking.
savage people. Look at our skin. Our skin is like letting you know that there was a time when there was like no sunshine, that we were probably backed up into Finland, as my buddy there, Narco Longo, says. And we were probably just eating, moss and baby blood, like horrifying shit. And I think that the whites developed a like psychopathic ability to survive and plan. And there is like a psychopathy to the white that I don't see as much in the black. Like the black's more heart, soul, vibing. Like they'll
Hacking.
chop heads off and stuff, but it's less like premeditated and
Hacking.
psychopathic. I think a lot of the like low impulse control whites were hung or killed or, they had their balls clipped. I think that Europe had a long history of eugenics, and there's a lot of history to back that up. Like if you forget about Margaret Sanger, this
Excrement.
goes back a long time. Like when you have a bunch of whites, whites are
Hacking.
savages back in the day. With all that puking and
Spooting.
you probably lost about 5 pounds. It's true, Simone Poppy. Blacks aren't into the future. Why would they? They're surrounded by papayas all the time. It's not because they're bad. It's like, imagine if you live in an area of like abundance with low population. The irony about claiming that the whites have like killed all these blacks, there's way more black people now than there was like 1,000 years ago, in my opinion. I think that what Caucasian farming practices and industry, like just look at South Africa. You take tribes of like 5,000 people, and now there's like 10 million of them because of mass agriculture and industry. Okay? And so then you have that tribal mentality. Because if you go to South Africa, I have a lot of South African friends, some black too. So this isn't just like a one-sided opinion. The tribalism of South Africa is nuts, not just race. It's not just like blacks against white farmers. Depending on your
Hacking.
license plate, like a black dude from one area of Johannesburg versus another, they will just start shooting at each other. Like they have a ridiculously tribal phenotype, and their population just got huge. And they're also really
hecking,
strong, like physically. You know, they have a very powerful DNA, but it's there's a lot of savagery going on there. And if you don't think that human beings can have different phenotypes and racial eugenics, you're
hecking, slow,
dude, just doing a few years of goat farming or cow farming, you could change a genetic line completely in 10 generations. Completely. Like, you just breed for one direction, and you could change everything about a population. It's
hecking,
mind blowing. Being surrounded by papayas is better than being surrounded by pomegranates, says Taylor Bear. It's a really good point, Taylor Bear. 2,000% population increase in 100 years, says Saint Effin. Yeah, no, that's all provable fact. Like, if you look at some of these areas, they didn't have cities. Like, they didn't have. I will say this though, there was some major accomplishments in Africa. Like, you got Timbuktu, the Ethiopian Empire. There's probably some really incredible civilizations that happened. They weren't just mud huts and
sodomizing.
guys. Like, let's give them a little credit. But in general, they lived a lot more low population, tribal, and they weren't like bad people. You know, it's like they probably had a lot of heart, really kind to their own. That's where the word kind comes from, is kin. You know, it's how you treat your own kin, your own kind. But, the irony is everybody calls whites the racists, but by far the most xenophobic people in the world are these more savagey, tribal type people. That's why they'll
hecking,
genocide each other for being from another tribe. Fascinating stuff. And whites are way, way less like that. Whites are more, it's a little sociopathic, but it's a little more about accomplishing tasks, financially driven. You know, it's about infrastructure, systems, way less about what tribe are you from. The irony about the current narrative is white people, quote unquote white people, Northern Europeans, Northern North Americans, are the least xenophobic people in the world, in my opinion. Way less than Japan, way less than Korea, China, way less than African tribes. It's interesting.
excrement,
Roller Bear, hail Bard King. I will start super chatting at Entropy going forward. Bertari forever. Why, thank you, Roller Bear. Rumble says, French take the cake for being the gayest Euros. Anglos are also pretty gay. How did Germans get so gay? All the tough ones got killed, thanks to Mean Mr. Mustache. I get they were neutered after World War II, but what's with all the rainbows? No, they got...
hecking,
I mean, look at Japan. You take all your fiercest warriors and you just kill all of them. And then all of the little gay cartoon guys are left at home, and they're the ones who breed. Guys, genetics matter. They do. It's like, they matter. They matter. Vikings were civilized by agriculture. Blacks were uncivilized by it. That's very interesting, Josh. Well said. Yeah, blacks just can't handle a hoe and a
hecking,
rake. But think about how good blacks would be on the back of a zebra hunting down a lion. You can't do that, right? With their big hard
wings.
I love when we hit all the super chat options in a stream. Rumble, UA, Entropy, Odyssey, DLive, Rockfin, and now GatPay. Gay Asian cartoon men, we know not to trust those guys. Yeah, Japan just got blasted into cartoon
videos.
The OQ.